everyone. Good morning, good evening, and also good day. I'm Henry Wang Huiyao, founder and president of CCG and host of CCG Global Dialogue Series. You are watching Forum online program advancing the 2030 agenda in uncertain times, sustainability and quest for the China-U.S. cooperation, featuring the Honorable Secretary Henry Paulson and also Mr. Wang Shi. Mr. Paulson served as a 74th Secretary of the Treasury under the President George W. Bush from July 2006 to January 2009. As a Treasury Secretary, Paulson led the nation's response to the financial crisis in 2008, helping to stabilize the global financial system and avoid the second Great Depression. He also designed a strategic economic dialogue to revitalize the way U.S.-China relations was conducted, achieving major breakthroughs on currency manipulations, trade flows, and environment, and global financial stability. Prior to that, Mr. Paulson had a 32 years career at Goldman Sachs, serving as a chairman and CEO beginning in 1999. As a banker, he grew the Goldman Sachs presence in China. Today, he is the chairman of Paulson Institute, which aims to foster a U.S.-China relation that maintains global order in a rapidly evolving world. In 2021, Paulson helped launch and become the executive chairman of TPG Rise Climate, the climate investing platform of global private equity firm TPG. His leadership of TPG Rise Climate reflects his belief that there is an urgent need to accelerate action against the climate change and that innovative vehicles for private sector's financing will be essential for meeting the challenges. Mr. Paulson is also co-chair of the Epson Institute Economic Strategic Group, co-chair of the advisory board of a Bloomberg New Economy Forum. He also chairs a number of leading environment NGOs, including the Nature Conservancy Board of Directors and its Asia Pacific Council. Also, Mr. Paulson is the author of two bestsellers. One is that On the Blink and Dealing with China. The other book is Dealing with China. She is also the co-author of two books with former chair of Federal Reserve Ben Bernanke and former Secretary Tim Geithner. So I would like to also introduce Mr. Wang Shi. Mr. Wang Shi is the senior vice chair of Center for China and Globalization, CCG. He's the household name in China. He founded the Vanke in 1984 during a period when China's private economy barely started to develop. Under his leadership, Vanke has grown into the world's largest residential property and developer by sales revenue, and also is the pioneer of China green home construction. A devoted environmental conservationist and practitioner of CSR, Mr. Wang Shi has also created and led many influential environmental advocacy groups and charity organizations. Chief among them is the Society of Entrepreneurs and Ecological, known as SEE. He had been involved in global climate governance since 2009, having practiced in the United Nations climate change, participated in the United Nations Climate Change Conference and other programs. In 2013, he was elected the first Chinese board of directors of World Wildlife Fund. From 2011 on, he studied business and ethics across the cultural research at the University of the West, in the West, actually, in Harvard. I know that I was there at the same time, and became a visiting scholar also at Cambridge and Hebrew University. Mr. Wang is widely known in China for his passion for mountain climbing. He literally set the trends for scaling Mount Everest and Antarctic expedition in China. Mr. Wang is the author of 5 books. So Secretary Paulson and Mr. Wang are all dedicated to conservationists, and both are leading a financial and philanthropic course to address the climate change and biodiversity loss. With less than 10 years left to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals, the world needs to pick up the pace and also put great efforts in finding the better solutions. The environment agenda, which is core to the SDGs, will depend critically on the ability of the world's two largest economies, the United States and China, to find a path towards partnership on climate action and ecological conservation. In less than 60 minutes, we're going to tap into their insights on sustainability issues, climate finance, and US-China cooperation. So without further ado, let me turn to Secretary Paulson first. Mr. Paulson is joining us from Chicago on the evening of June 19th. Happy Father's Day. So probably, Hank, you can have your open statement. Welcome to Strategic Dialogue.
Okay, so Dr. Wang, I want to first make sure you can hear me.
Yes.
I could hear you coming in and out sometimes more clearly than others. But if you can hear me, let me say how delighted I am to see you again and to be on a program with my good friend Wang Huiyao. I'm a big admirer of Wang Huiyao and have enjoyed working with him over many years. Now, in terms of the Paulson Institute, when I set this up in 2011, I set up an independent think and do tank with the idea of sparking innovation, creativity, economic policy changes, environmental policies changes to help promote sustainable economic growth and a cleaner environment around the world. And my focus was on US-China, because I believe then, even though the relationship wasn't as troubled as it is today, I believe then, as I believe now, that this is the most consequential relationship in the world. And here we're talking about the two biggest economies, the two biggest carbon emitters, energy users. And to me, if we're going to make progress in these areas, it's important that we find ways to work in complementary ways. And so again, the Paulson Institute was focused on pooling ideas from both countries, developing solutions that would help lead to advance economic growth and economic policy and a cleaner environment in both countries. Now, you cited the Paulson Prize, and that's one of our initiatives. And here, the Paulson Prize is designed to identify in China innovative, scalable programs that can promote the sustainable urbanization and a clean environment. And I think we've done a pretty good job of developing best-in-class programs. And here, again, the focus is on helping for China's transition to a sustainable, cleaner economy. And we focus the prize in two areas, which is green energy, green energy, and a focus on conservation stewardship, nature stewardship. And so that's a quick overview. And again, it's something that's very important to us.
Thank you, Hank. That's great. I mean, that's a great start of the introduction of the Paulson Institute. We know that actually CCG has supported the Paulson Prize for Sustainability in the past years. And I was actually at a award ceremony held at Bloomberg's New Economy Forum in 2019 in Beijing, and you were there. And so CCG is very pleased to become a partner of this program last year as well. So it's great to see both of you. And I know you are the mastermind behind this prize. And of course, Mr. Wang is a member of its jury committee. So I understand that you both recently met in Chicago. So maybe I can tell us how did the synergy come about? So 这个王石，我知道你现在在这个欧洲有。
So, Mr. Wang, you're in Europe right now. This is a very great journey in Greek. This is 4 o'clock in the morning, your local time, and Paulson. The Paulson Fund and also the relative activities for the sustainable development. You're also one member of the panel of the judges for that prize. So please share with us your synergy and also your recent activities. Thank you. So having this chance to meet with Mr. Paulson online is very valuable. It's fair to say that in early May, I embarked on my journey in Europe. And this journey is actually a journey started from U.S., from Washington, D.C. to Chicago, Boston, and all the way to New York on the vessel, actually, and I'm still on the way. And right now I'm in Athens. And yes, for Athens, yes, so this is the cradle, one of the cradles for civilizations of human beings. And right now, here I am, I'm in Greek. And this is also the place with very popular activities on canals. And it's going to last to the end of July. And this is a very important stop. U.S. is very important stop. After Washington, D.C., there's another stop that I'm going to come by in Chicago. And there are 5 lakes. And the connection of the 5 lakes and the canals, that's going to be a very splendid journey as well. From New York, and New York is one of the biggest ports in U.S. and also one of the biggest financial centers in the world as well. And I was attending several environmental protection and conservation activities and conferences in Boston. And one arrangement is for the speedboat racing, and also visited the homes of Henry Paulson, and also it impressed me a lot. That memory impressed me a lot. So the beginning moments of meeting with Henry Paulson is also very impressive. About 18 years ago, it was about 2004. At that time, Henry Paulson is the CEO and the chairman of Goldman Sachs, and a very influential financial leader. And I am also a leader in the delegation of a businessman of China. And SEE is the organization I set up. In terms of the environmental protection and conservation, well, both of us have great passions. But of course, we are still lack of experiences. In terms of the teamwork, we also are a very late starter. So we signed the strategic agreement with the TNC led by Henry Paulson. I still remember that was in the Great Hall of People in China. And this was actually the official first moment or first time we met with each other.
We didn't talk much. What impressed me most is that at that time, at Wall Street, investment bankers were not very focused on green technology or environmental protection or ESG. However, Mr. Paulson was very much focused on that. And that impressed me a lot because he was both a financier and an environmentalist. And over the years, we have been working together with TNC, and our group has grown from 100 business people to over 1,000. And we've learned a lot about environmental protection and ecology and NGO governance. And in China, close to 1,000 NGOs have been supported by us, and ICE has become a large environmental foundation in China. Having said that, I'd like to talk about myself. In 2002, I was mountaineering, and I went to the highest peak in Africa, and I didn't see any snow on that peak. Actually, it should be snow-capped, but I didn't see any snow. The conclusion I got was climate change and global warming. It is not just that peak. I also went to the South Pole and North Pole, not as cold as I expected. I remember that when I traveled to the South Pole, we stayed for 20 minutes without any clothes on my back. And since then, I've decided to do environmental protection. And I participated in large global NGO activities. And Mr. Paulson is always there. And we know that in the United States, there are some large NGO organizations, and Mr. Paulson is the person that can connect those large NGOs together in the United States. So you asked me how I met Mr. Paulson. He said that he set up the Paulson Institute in 2011. At that time, I was a director of WEF. And some large U.S. NGOs went to the Paulson Institute in Chicago to coordinate their activities. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Wang Shi, for your very impressive story and your meeting with Mr. Paulson, and both of you getting involved in environmental actions. It seems that that's a very good case for U.S. and Chinese entrepreneurs getting involved in environment.